Hey everybody, coming to you today here with another Bible review. This is a review that I've been waiting on for quite some time, probably about a year since I first heard that these were coming out. But this is the ESV Preaching Bible, verse by verse edition in the black goat skin. Now this is, they come out with the Preaching Bible about 2, maybe 3 years ago. It was in paragraph format. It was a great reading Bible, but it wasn't necessarily what a preacher was looking for. I know we talked about these kind of things in some of the Bible groups and we're kind of disappointed. Well, now they've come out with a verse by verse edition and it's single column. So just want to give you a quick look. Here's your ISBN number. You can freeze this video and get that if you're interested. A couple of the features that I just want to point out real quick. It's got 9.75 point type, which is almost a 10, which is good. Enlarged and bolded verse numbers, extra wide margins, single column verse by verse format, thick paper, presentation page, concordance, 2 ribbons, and their lifetime guarantee. Now, let's look at this. This is your actual preaching Bible. Now let's look at the dimensions first. You're going to be about probably 6.5 wide. You're going to be 6, almost 9.5 that way, and then the thickness of this is going to be 1.75 inches. So not quite as big as some of the people that were talking about it was going to be. The leather on this is the goat skin leather. Now the one thing that I did notice is that it's super flexible, it's super floppy. It's a big major improvement from the China printed Bibles that have been coming out. If you've had a legacy or if you've had an Omega and it was a China print, you probably were disappointed with it. Some people weren't, but they were definitely a downgrade from the Netherlands printed Bibles that we had seen before. This leather is an upgrade. It is very soft, it's very flexible, it feels good in the hand. It's still not a Netherlands, but it's very good. And so let's talk about the leather here. It's got your perimeter stitching. You have 1, 2, 3, 4 hubs on the back. Crossway, English Standard Version, ESV, Holy Bible. And then, of course, there's nothing on the back. Now, the one that they did send me does have a crease right here in the leather. I don't know, maybe if it was on something from the factory or what it was. It doesn't make any difference to me. But this is some of the quality control issues that Crossways have been having. They provided this Bible for me to review, but if I had paid $180 something, $200 for this Bible, that would not be sufficient. But in the inside of the cover, of course, you have your goatskin leather lettering, your gold tooling. This is edge lined, and the same way on the front. Now, let's get into the Bible itself. In the beginning, you're not going to see any of the things that you would normally see, like deaths and births and all that. You just have your one presentation page, a couple of blank pages in the front, and then straight into it. You have your regular publisher page here, and then your 2016 printed in China ESV Bible, Preaching Bible, verse by verse. And then straight in, you got your preface, and then into the Old Testament. Now, as you can see, it does lay fairly flat. It will lay flat with some work in Genesis chapter 1. Now you have, of course, your headline here of your book, Genesis. You have subtopical headings, the creation of the world, chapter 1, and then your bolded verse numbers, all in a single line going out through. They're all on their each individual line. It does have paragraph markers throughout, and it is what's the word for it? I went blank. Anyways, it's line matched. That's what it was. It's line matched. Sorry about that. I had a brain fart for a second. So you can see here in chapter 2, you have your subtopical headings, chapter 2, and then your verses all on a single line. There is some footnotes here at the bottom, but there's no references. Now, you'll see here on your edge, this shows to me to be about 1 1/4 on your margin. And so as you go through, you can see here, let me get over here into the Psalms. Here's your Psalms. The paper on this is really nice. You don't have a whole lot of bleed through. It's not nearly as bad as I would have suspected that it would have been. You do have your art gilding here and your 2 little Crossway ribbons. I wish that they would fix these ribbons and put some actual 1/4 inch double satin ribbons. The one thing that I do have to complain about Crossway is their ribbons. But that's not just me, that's across the board. Everybody talks about Crossway ribbons. But other than that, this is a great addition. Probably one of the best additions I have seen in the single column verse by verse format. Now you know that there was a printing in 2007 that was printed in Belgium, and then there was a printing in 2011 that was printed in Italy by Lego. This one is just as good to me as any of those that I've seen. Of course, the paper doesn't have that hue as the Lego and the Belgium had, but it's very bright white. Now you'll see that there is kind of a sheen to this paper, just a tad bit, I think. But great to be able to write in for your notes or whatever. Man, I tell you, I just love a single column verse by verse for preaching. This is probably going to be one that I'll use for a good long while. Now here in Revelation, at the end of Revelation, I will point out that it does have, there's Revelation 20 on this side, your weights and measures, and then a concordance. Now, to me, I don't understand why they would put a concordance in this, because if you're going to use this as a preaching Bible, you're not going to need a concordance. You're not going to need maps in the back. Just some regular line paper or something like that. That much of this could have been used for something much better, but we won't knock them too hard on that. Pros and cons of this Bible, I will say it's a beautiful layout. I love the layout. I love the way that it shows. I love the size of the text. I love the verses that you can easily define. I love the paper. I like the leather on it. It's not Netherlands, but it's not bad. It's actually pretty good. Cons that I don't like, of course, the ribbons. I don't like that they put the concordance and stuff in the back. A preacher's just not going to go through in the middle of his sermon and say, "Oh, by the way, let's look at this map up here that you all can see." It's just not plausible. But other than that, it's a great single column verse by verse. I will say this is another con, their quality assurance. They're definitely going to have to step it up on that. But definitely worth your time if you use an ESV and you want a verse by verse Bible. This is it. If you don't like a single column, they do have a double column, verse by verse, and then Cambridge came out with the Topaz. It's a verse by verse as well in double column format. But definitely this one's worth your time. Give it a look, and yeah. So we'll see you next time, and thanks for watching.